So what's up? Thank you very much for checking this out. It's definitely going to go on YouTube. I just did an Instagram live. Didn't save it, so now I'm on Periscope, and I'll be going on Facebook Live later. But this will eventually go to YouTube, so make sure you go follow me on Instagram, username Dan Sfera. And so the first question I got was from someone who owns a research clinic, and they are doing good. They're a client of mine, so I know them well. And what they're doing is they've started their site. They got studies. They got a PI. Well, now they're having a hard time getting patients enrolled in their study, and they're running into obstacles. And I told them, of course you're going to run into obstacles. This is not going to be easy. Okay, you have your own business, your own research clinic. You're going to run into obstacles. And one of the obstacles is referring physicians are not being helpful by not allowing their patients to join studies. And this person's asking me, is this allowed? And the answer is complicated. The textbook answer is no. The doctors don't own their patients. It's just an opinion. It's medical. It's one person's opinion. This is why patients are recommended to get multiple opinions from multiple physicians on topics. Clinical trial is no different. If the doctor has nothing to do with clinical research, why would he or she want their patient to join a study? Like, it makes zero sense. I know, I've dealt with it too. It's extremely frustrating, but it's just the reality. If there's nothing in it for the physician, if there's only liability or negative consequences from having their patient in a study, why would they do it? So first of all, you got to step outside your shoes as a site owner and stop thinking that everyone's going to shape their will towards your business, because they're not. And look at it from their perspective, right? They don't know what clinical research is. Most physicians don't. Most physicians think clinical research is done in academic settings or hospitals, and that patients who join are guinea pigs. That's all they think. So why would they want to refer their patients to a study? You, the site owner, need to go in there and educate these physicians on what clinical research is. You can take it a step further and get additional buy-in and incentive from them by having them join you as a sub-investigator. And of course, it's going to take work. You got to teach them what that is. You got to train them. You got to sell them, convince them on that, and then you got to convince them that it's something worthwhile for them, and then you got to make it worthwhile for them. So there's a lot of variables here, but it can be done. I've done this since 2005. I know that getting a doctor to refer is very difficult unless they are involved somehow with the study. Now, once a physician understands that they can participate in clinical research and they can be a sub-investigator and gain some experience and become a PI and then do their own studies and add additional revenue stream to their private practice, they're all in. Most of them are all in. The only question now is, do they want to do this with you or not? So you got to go in there and make sure that they do it with you. And then you got to make sure that they don't want to do it on their own. So you go in there and make sure that you're involved and you do as much of the work as possible so that they don't think that they don't need you, and then they can cut you out and just do it on their own. It happens, guys and gals, happens every single week. I get another email from a site owner. So that's the first question I got. No, the doctors are not going to want to refer patients to you if they get nothing out of it. Number one, they're afraid. The liability. People are suing everybody these days. So if a patient asks their doctor, do you think it's a good idea I do this clinical trial? And the doctor says yes, and the doctor has nothing to do with that clinical trial, and then somehow the patient gets sick or gets a side effect, the patient can sue that doctor. Why'd you recommend me to do this study? Why would anyone want that? I wouldn't want that. Now, if I were a physician and I were a sub-investigator, and I was educated by a site owner on what clinical research is and how it can benefit me in the long run and my business, then I would consider doing it. Okay, so that's number one, is liability. Number two is they're afraid of losing their patients. So if I'm a referring physician and my patient wants to go do a clinical trial, I'm worried that this patient will no longer come back to me for private practice, that they will go with their research site. And because most research sites have their own private practice attached to the business. So that's another concern, and that's another concern that you've got to alleviate. These things are not going to solve themselves. Doctors are not just going to think you're Mother Teresa because you're doing clinical research and send all their patients your way. It's not the way it works. So hopefully that helps. Second question I got was, well, actually, I'll do the second question on another video. So thank you everyone for watching, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye.